worship the God who evermore will be. He opened the prison doors, He parted the raging sea. My God, He holds the victory. There is joy in the house of the Lord. There is joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet, and we shout out your name. There is joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. And we won't be quiet, and we shout out your name. We sing to the God who heals. We sing to the God who saves. We sing to the God who always makes a way. 'Cause He hung up on that cross, and He rose up from that grave. My God still rolling stones away. There is joy in the house of the Lord. There is joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet, but we shout out your name. There is joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. And we won't be quiet, but we shout out your name. Sing out, we were beggars, 'cause we were the beggars. Now we're royalty. We were the prisoners. Now we're running free. We are forgiven, accepted, redeemed by His grace. Let the house of the Lord sing praise. Do that again. 'Cause we were the beggars. Now we're royalty. We were the prisoners. Now we're running free. We are forgiven, accepted, redeemed by His grace. Let the house of the Lord sing praise. There is joy in the house of the Lord. There is joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet, no, we shout out your praise. There is joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. And we won't be quiet, but we shout out your praise. There is joy in the house of the Lord. There is joy in the house of the Lord today. And we won't be quiet, but we shout out your praise. There is joy in the house of the Lord. Our God is surely in this place. And we won't be quiet, but we shout out your praise. And we shout out your praise. We shout out your praise. We shout out your praise. And oh, how high would I climb mountains if the mountains were where you hide? And oh, how far I'd scale the valleys if you graced the other side. And oh, how long would I chase rivers from lowly seas to where they rise, against the rush of grace descending from the source of its supply. 'Cause in the heartaches and the heartache, you're neither more or less inclined. And And I would search and stop at nothing, but you're just not that hard to find. So I will praise you on the mountains, and I will praise you when the mountains in my way. You're the summit where my feet are. So I will praise you in the valleys all the same. No, there's God within the shadow. No, there's faithful when the night leads me astray. 'Cause you're the heaven where my heart is. In the highlands and the heartache all the same. Oh, oh, oh. And oh, how far beneath your glory does your kindness extend the path from where your feet rest on the sunrise to where you sleep the sinner's path. And oh, how fast would you come running if just to shadow me through the night, trace my steps through all my failures and walk me out the other side. For who could dare ascend that mountain, that valleyed hill called Calvary, but for the one I call Good Shepherd, who like a lamb was slain for me. Yeah. So I will praise you on the mountain, I will praise you when the mountains in my way. You're the summit where my heart are. I will praise you in the valleys all the same. No, there's God within the shadows. No, there's faithful when the night leads me astray. 'Cause you're the heaven where my heart is. In the highlands and the heartache all the same. Oh, oh, oh. Sing out, whatever I walk through. Whatever I walk through, wherever I am, when they can move mountains, wherever I stand. So whenever I walk through the valley of death, I'll sing through the shadows my song of ascent. Yeah, whatever I walk through, wherever I am, when they can move mountains, wherever I stand. So whenever I walk through the valley of death, I'll sing through the shadows my song of ascent. Yeah, my song of ascent. Oh, oh, oh. From the greatest of all valleys comes the pastures we call grace, a mighty river flowing upward from a deep but empty grave. So I will praise you on the mountain, I will praise you when the mountains in my way. You're the summit where my feet are. So I will praise you in the valleys all the same. No, there's God within
But yeah, so today my sermon is I Am Enough. I don't see how Rick does this every week. Because this week, when I was thinking of a topic, I am enough, the devil really tried to work on me this week. When I was going through everything I was going to write down, I was going to say, it was really hard this week. Had a lot of driving this week for work and had a lot of time to think. On Thursday morning, I drove to Oak Harbor, Ohio, which is like 3 hours north. And I had a lot of time to think. I was on the road at 4:30 in the morning. Semis cutting me off. It was really frustrating. So, like I said, it was a really testing week. But I am here to say we are enough. So I want to open it up. I know I talk a lot about sports. I won't go into a whole lot of sports, but I did want to share one story that kind of leads me into my topic. This story is about my favorite basketball player of all time. His name's TJ Callahan. So I've had the opportunity to coach TJ for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. And this year we finally had a decent team. And I'm ultra competitive. Like, I don't like losing at anything. Whether it was, an eating contest, whatever the case may be, I don't like losing. So, as a coach, I don't like losing. So this year, like I said, we had a pretty good year. TJ's team went 18-5, and all 5 of those losses frustrated me, made me lose sleep at night. And it's 4th grade basketball, are you kidding me? But, so we had lost to Little Miami, unfortunately. My mother and Marcella, alums of Little Miami. So I did not want to lose. And so we lost the regular season game. We played bad. I knew that we could beat them. So we get into the first round of the tournament. About 4 minutes left to go in the game, we're down by 9. And I was like, wow, I have 4th graders, not too many of us, of them can shoot 3-pointers. But lo and behold, we have a kid that shoots 2 and makes them. And we got 30 seconds to go in the game. We had just tied it up. So I call timeout with 30 seconds to go. And I draw up a play in the timeout for TJ to get the ball. I had all faith in TJ. And mind you, I hyped this game up all week to the point he was probably so stressed out, right? I said, we're going for the trophy. We don't play for the participation trophy. So he was all worked up. He was ready. I put him in this situation. It's everything opens up. The shot is there, and he misses it. He gets his rebound, and he misses it again. I put him in that situation. I put so much stress on him to take that shot and to make it so we could win. So with about 10 seconds left to go in the game, I call another timeout. And the kids are walking over off the floor towards me, and I look at TJ's face, and he had broke down. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to look at, is my son was so defeated, but I put him in that position to make him feel that way. So the next, they go down, Little Miami goes down, and he gets a rebound that saves us to go into overtime, so they didn't get a putback. So kind of looking at everything, I put TJ in a position that wasn't for him. TJ is really, really good, but scoring the winning basket may not be his thing. He scores a lot of points, but putting him in that pressure situation, he had 50 points this year, but he had 126 rebounds. That was where, he was needing to be. And I put him in that situation to fail. So I I had to console my son in the timeout and let him know that, bud, I need you. You're enough. And then when we ended up losing the game in overtime, and the kid was, he was heartbroken. And I feel like I caused it all. And it did two things. It made him feel like he wasn't enough. But then as a father, I felt like I wasn't enough. Because I put him in that position. That was really hard for me. We are a generation of people who have never worked harder to have it all. Yet we go to bed most nights wondering why we don't have more. We are constantly measuring ourselves and also what we have and don't have. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, beautiful, go to college, don't go to college, just go right into your career. Everyone's heart struggles with not feeling like enough. We are always looking around to see who we measure up to, how good we are compared to our neighbor, and what ways we fall short. I believe our struggle with wondering if we are good enough goes back to how much we trust God. We aren't struggling because of circumstances as much as we are struggling because we fail to trust God enough to give us what we need and to show us where we're supposed to go and what we are supposed to do. This is why discontentment surfaces in our lives, is because we don't trust God enough to believe that we are enough. It tells us in Genesis 1:27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So if he made us in his own image, he didn't shortchange us. He wouldn't have shortchanged us. In Matthew 6:25-27, we're told, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you by worrying add a single life to an hour to your life? No, we can't. Sometimes we go in these dark places and have dark thoughts. Am I enough? I know with my job, I'm in, pretty much a sales job. And every week I have, a 1 week or one time a week call. And that call makes me sick to have to go through every week to know that I feel like I'm going to be told I'm pretty much not enough, right? How many presentations did you this week? I can do all the presentations that I can do and still not get an application, right? But then I could get all the applications in the world and still not have enough presentations. It drives me nuts. And like I said, it makes me sick. It makes me feel like I'm not enough. So in 1 Peter 1:14-19, it says, as obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do. For it is written, be holy, because I am holy. Since you call on a Father who judges each person's work impartially, live out your time as foreigners here in reverent fear. For you know that it is not with perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your ancestors, but with precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. I know I'm guilty of this, feeling like I'm not enough, but trying to compare myself to everyone else. Sometimes I get frustrated. Why do I have to work so hard and other people don't? I remember having a job one time, and the thing around the office was, if you're not making $100,000, you're pretty much not enough. And at that time, I was not. That was 15, 20 years ago. But kind of looking around the office, every single one of those people in the office were not great people. Several of them cheated on their wives. They were taking their money out gambling, not spending any time with their families. And I'm always guilty of wondering, like, why so-and-so's got this, but I don't. Mary always has to rein me in because I get so daggone frustrated. You know, outside of what my recruiting job, I do some grocery delivery on the side. That's something fun to do. And I always wondered, like, sometimes I stress myself out and work 2 jobs so I can, have more and have more when I don't need to. Right? How many of you guys do that? Like, we continue to work and be workaholics and to want things that we don't really need, just to make us feel like we're enough. But does it really make us feel like we're enough? Are we ever going to feel like we're enough? No. Just know God created you for a specific reason. He created you for a specific reason. You're the only one that can fill the role God created you for. So you are enough. Sometimes we go through life not feeling like enough, but you're the only person that can fulfill what God put you here for. The only person. Worrying about being enough keeps us from our purpose that we're created for. Always worrying at night. What are we going to have for breakfast? Where are we going to go eat, tomorrow? When there's people like Marcella said that don't even have backpacks. Being enough and having enough is a state of mind. We can change that. And we can change it here. Being that state of mind, when you limit yourself in the state of mind, thinking about all the time, well, I'm not enough, or I don't have enough money. Right? When you limit yourself, you start working out of fear. And when you start working out of fear, you do stupid things. You do things that you wouldn't normally do. Right? You push a little more when you shouldn't push on a sale. You push, I've seen people in my line of work at college fairs and whatnot, and they push and push to get this kid to go there, and the kid ends up going there because they felt all warm and gushy, and then guess what? They're transferring. Now they owe another school money, right? Exodus 3:11-12. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God said, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is who I have sent to you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain." The Lord wanted Moses to go, and he said, "Who am I?" Right? Moses was humble. Who am I to go? He even had those thoughts. We have to change our mindset of being enough and having enough and get rid of the world's ideas, what we should be and what it says we should have. Quit worrying about, having that, I want to say Corvette. Somebody was talking about a Corvette yesterday. Not me. I rock a minivan, Toyota minivan, lifer. So, yeah. When you live thinking you aren't enough or deficient, you will sell yourself short. You'll let people control you because other people is where you are getting your validation. Quit getting your validation from other people. Quit worrying about what they say. I did that too many times in my life. I remember being in college, as a sophomore in college, and I shared with you my first sermon that I battled an eating disorder. And a lot of that was brought on because of what I worried about with everyone else. In high school, I was always, the chubbier kid. And when I got to college, it really took hold. That eating disorder took hold. At one time, I wanted to dabble in anabolic steroids. Didn't, thank goodness. A lot of alcohol. Almost ruined my teaching career before it ever started. On a crazy, stupid night. got charged with the public intoxication, underage consumption. And I remember when my dad went to the courtroom with me because I had to face, a real judge. There was people in there for some crazy stuff, and here I am for drinking. Trying to impress other people. That's all it was. Trying to impress the other people. I didn't have good grades, so I didn't hang out with the smart kids. I was actually failing school. So I turned to, getting involved in the wrong type of stuff. But if I would have just turned to God and knew that I was enough for Him, instead of turning to all those other places, costing myself a lot more money, a lot more heartache. In 2 Kings 4:1-7, the wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go sell the oil to pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." You see what her mindset was? It was a limited or a fixed mindset. She didn't think she had enough. But once she put her trust in God, once she put her trust where it needed to be, sometimes we are more like this lady than we would ever admit by discounting what we have been given by God. And the enemy has us believing that we are enough. That story was an awesome story because it put everything in perspective. Right? She thought just one jar of oil was not going to get her through. And she, I can just imagine being in that scene when they said, "Go get all the jars that you can round up." People probably thought she was crazy, right? And she probably thought it was crazy. And then when she kept pouring it kept coming and coming. And she had plenty, overflowing. If there would have been more jars, she would have had more. That puts life in perspective for me. When we're down and feeling like we don't have enough, we have a Father that can give us everything. I remember coming home from college one time, and I stopped at a gas station, and I was on my way home to see, Mary lived home when I was in Indiana. I remember being at a gas station. Back in those times, I was a college kid. I didn't have any money. So I was trying to figure out the mileage to the exact dollar that I had, right? So I got to about Richmond, Indiana, and realized I'm not going to make it home. I still have another hour to go. What am I going to do? And some random guy came and gave me $20 to fill my tank. We are enough. God's going to provide enough for us to get through what we need to get through. We just got to spin the mindset. We got to change our mindsets that we are enough. In 2019, suicide was the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. 4th leading cause of death for adolescents ages 15 through 19 globally. I was at a high school on Friday where they had just went through a teen suicide. Hearing just in between classes, hearing the stories, it really shook me. In 2019, 3.5 million people planned a suicide, 1.4 million attempted a suicide, and 47,511 were successful with that suicide. And it directly comes from not feeling like they're enough. And we can have an impact on people not feeling like they're enough as well, like I did with my son. 9% of the population worldwide have eating disorders. I was one of those. 28.8 million Americans will suffer from an eating disorder in their life. 26% of people with an eating disorder attempt suicide in the U.S. There is a death every 52 minutes from an eating disorder. Where does that come from? Society, making people feel like they're not enough. We've got to change that. And it starts at Cobblestone. Today we are changing our mindsets to I am enough. Did you know that in the Bible it has 52 verses that God says we're beautiful? 52, God says we are beautiful. Why don't we believe it? Around 100 Bible verses there's around 100 Bible verses. It talks about us being created in God's image. God didn't shortchange us. He didn't. He didn't make a mistake on the day we were made. We are who we're supposed to be. And we are the only ones that can fill that void, fill that spot, that job. God wants you just as you are. You are enough. Because you were made in the image of God and carry His likeness in you, you are enough. Band, you guys can come on. Just remember, guys, God put us here for one specific purpose, and we're the only ones that can fill that purpose. We can change the direction of someone's life, but also our own. When you leave here today, tell yourself you are enough. We weren't shortchanged. And let's stop putting other people in positions where they feel like they're not enough. It starts here at Cobblestone, making people feel like they are enough. Let's make people feel like they belong. When I was at Kroger the other day doing a grocery delivery, I was so amped up to get to speak today. And there's a lot of the cashiers and whatever that work up there. They see me up there all the time. Mary sends me for stuff all the time, right? So I feel like I should be a Kroger employee, actually. But I heard a lady talking to some guy, some bagger up there said he got to sing at his church this past weekend. He was so excited about it. And I heard her say that she doesn't go to church because people are so judgmental. Let's change that. Let's be the church that we let people know that they are enough to walk through our door. And it changes today. If anybody needs prayer, if anybody's feeling like they're not enough today, because I felt like that this week, and all the prayers, and Brett and Kelly's prayer and the before church really made me feel at ease. Because stepping on the stage this morning, I did not feel like I was enough to get up here and speak. I really had to get myself to do it. I asked Mary last night, I said, what if I get up there and I can't even say anything? So if you need prayer, if you feel like you're not enough, come up here and let's pray.
Let's stand. Let's sing together. Oh, all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you.